thought of a couple favorite movies.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. We don't. Good morning. Please stand and join us in singing our gathering song, My Soul is Welcome Here. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome. Welcome to Unity of Stuart. Give me a second. I got to take a breath. I was running around a little bit, batteries and other stuff. Glad to see you all here this morning. Glad to see you all online. Welcome to all who are watching on YouTube and Facebook. And I know for a fact that Jess and Phil are watching from Cape Cod. Hi, Jess. Hi, Phil. Welcome. Glad you are here. And I don't know who's on Facebook on right now because I don't have it up, and I don't want to fool around with it while I'm standing here. Maybe I'll say hi later. But I do know I saw Bertha on there before I got up. So hi, Bertha. Glad you're watching. And hubby, who once again, I can't remember his first name, but hi, Bertha's husband. Shields! Thank you. Good morning, Shields, if you're watching. Bertha, go get him if he's not. All right. As always, we have with us the Joyful Noise Band and Choir, and our special music today features Jen Erickson. Yay for Jen. Thank you. We also have Dr. Rick back in the house. All right. Yes. All right. Welcome to First Timers. If you are here for the first time in the sanctuary and you feel comfortable in doing so, please raise your hand so Linda can see you and give you a welcome packet. Anybody here today for the first time? All right, hello, welcome, glad you're here. And if you are online for the first time and you would like a welcome packet, please email admin at
Linda.
Linda?
Up here.
Oh, Ocean.
Ocean is here.
All right, Ocean is here. And if you are online for the first time and you would like a welcome packet, please email admin at unityofstuart.org, and we will send you a welcome packet. In that welcome packet, there's information about Unity of Stuart and our larger Unity movement. There is also a form in that welcome packet. If you fill it out and bring it back to the welcome podium, Marlis is on the welcome podium today, and she will be happy to give you a gift. And let's see. There's also a prayer request / intention form in the welcome packet. If you would have a prayer need, you can fill out that form and put it in the prayer box, which is out in the foyer, and we will hold your prayer. We will hold your request in prayer. If you haven't raised your hand and you're here for the first time, or if you would just like to have a welcome packet, you can take one on the way out. And that's that for that. We have some snacks in the kitchen today, so please join us in the kitchen. Oh, also, our board is having a visioning meeting today. That's just a board meeting to talk about vision for Unity of Stuart and our facilities going forward. And if you have, and we'll all be around after service today. We'll all be hovering around in the kitchen or in here. If you have anything that you'd like to speak to any one of our board members about, we invite you to do that. So we have Don Rowell on the board. We have Linda Hart in the back. She's on the board. Other board members, David Avidable, Hildy Liraldi is here, and Nancy Bach is here. Am I missing anybody? Mary Claire is on the board, and she is recovering from, I wonder if I can say this. She's recovering before I get permission. She's recovering, and and she's fine. She's doing great. She's doing great, and she'll be back ASAP. Most importantly, what we'd like you to know, what we'd like everyone to know, that we are welcoming, affirming, practical, positive path of spirituality, and all are welcome here. And thank you for being the church. Not just welcome, but honored. And so thank you. Thank you for being the church. We do have prayer chaplain on duty today, and that is our board member and volunteer extraordinaire, Nancy Bach. Where are you, Nancy? Nancy's over there. If you would like some personal prayer support today, Nancy will be in the sanctuary after service for a little while, and she would be honored to pray with you and to hold your prayer in the highest confidence. And of course, there are the other ways that you can get prayer. Tuesday meditation, which is sometimes better than medication. Not always, but sometimes. Live on Tuesday morning with Cheryl Roby on Facebook. So, for those of you anybody in the house see the Unity Community Survey come through on your newsletter? Okay, great. So if you haven't opened your newsletter, it might be if you're on Gmail, it might be in your promotions. If you'd like to let us know how we're doing, you can open that link, and it should take you about 5 minutes to do that survey. And if you're online and if you want me to send you a link, revjudenning@gmail.com, also in the house too. Just email me and I will send you a link to the survey. Let's get ready for our dedication. So one of the things that's been important to me in my life is remembering who I am at depth, right? Who I am at the very depth, at the very foundation of me. So please join me today in dedicating ourselves, yourselves, and to recognizing who we are at depth and who and whose we are. My spiritual intuition is my guiding light. Let's breathe that in. My spiritual intuition is my guiding light. When I quiet my mind, I hear wisdom and feel the deep knowing that comes from God within. Like a car's headlights illuminating the road before me, my insight and intuition guide me through darkness. The lights do not show the entire drive, and yet I trust the journey. I do not need to see the whole path to move in the right direction. Indwelling Spirit is my trusted guide. I focus on what is before me. I do one thing at a time and keep moving forward. I don't think about where I've been or feel in a hurry to get where I'm going. Even if I am unsure of what comes next, I remember I am co-creating with God. The light of guidance reveals the next part of my journey, exactly when I need to see it. And from Job, you will decide on a matter, and it will be established for you, and light will shine on your ways. And so let's breathe that in. As we settle in, opening our hearts and minds to the gifts that are here today, being open and receptive, and ultimately responsive to the blessings of God right here and right now. My spiritual intuition is my guiding light, and so it is. Amen.
My
My spiritual intuition is my guiding light.
Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
Once more, if you please, together. My spiritual intuition is my guiding light. I'm sorry, please excuse me 1 minute. Let's sing as we prepare for meditation.
I feel so grateful. I am so blessed. I breathe in slowly as my soul rests. Oh, Holy Spirit, you are in my heart. In each and every moment you play a part. I feel so grateful to the God within. This blissful energy helps me begin each day with gratitude. I feel God everywhere. So I give thanks when I say my daily prayer. Grateful, oh grateful, grateful, so grateful, grateful, oh grateful, grateful, so grateful,
And we breathe. And if you're comfortable, I invite you to take 3 deep conscious breaths as a way of grounding into this now moment. Dropping shoulders, releasing any tension, unclenching what needs to be unclenched. Feeling our feet on the floor. And setting the intention to be here now. Dropping our awareness from our heads, our thinking, into our hearts. Opening our hearts to the blessings of Spirit that are right here, right now. I invite you to become aware of the presence and power of the one Spirit within your body. What does that feel like? What does that feel like for you? To feel that your body is the temple of God, temple of the infinite divine. That power and the presence is moving in and through your body, alivening and enlivening every cell, every muscle, every tissue. Everything is in alignment with Spirit in your physical body. In your mind, in your heart. From the tip of your head to the tip of your toes, the light of God moves in and through and as you. If there is any healing need in your body, in your mind, right now send that energy there, concentrated. Feel that body part glowing with pure health, pure wholeness, divine peace, divine love. You may wish to take another deep breath. And in this time of sacred communion with our God consciousness, with the divinity that lives, moves, and has its being as us, I invite you to release any burdens. I invite you to remember who you are, an expression of the divine. You may wish to repeat this: I am an expression of the divine. I am an expression of the divine. And because that is true, I affirm that all things work together for good. I affirm that everything is done in order and with harmony. I recognize and claim my sacred union. I am at peace. I recognize and claim my sacred union. I am at peace. In the quiet. And as we have co-created this sacred circle of love, of light, of peace, of wholeness, of remembering, I invite us to bring into our awareness all of those who are on our prayer list here at Unity of Stuart, and all of those that are in our minds and hearts this morning, and speaking their names if you desire out into this holy space. And turning our prayers over, turning over our loved ones into the care and keeping of the One. I invite you to join me in praying this in the name and the nature and the light and in the love of the indwelling Christ consciousness. And so it is. Let's sing.
One, two, one, two. We are one in the Spirit. We are one in our love. We are one in the Spirit. We are one in our love. And we know that our unity will this day rise above. And we'll know we're one family by our love, by our love. Yes, we'll know we're one family by our love. We will walk with each other. We will walk hand in hand. We will walk with each other. We will walk hand in hand. And together we'll spread the news that God is in our land. And we'll know we're one family by our love, by our love. Yes, we'll know we're one family by our love. Yes, we'll know we're one family by our love.
Y'all jump up and make me nervous. So change-o. No pressure. I go slow so I can calm down, bring my energy back down.
We'll bring it up in about.
We're gonna bring it back up. Sorry, but this is, you might wanna put your dancing shoes on. All right, I'm not sorry. Let's dance. We're ready. Who's to say what's impossible have they forgotten? This world keeps spinning, and with each new day, I can feel the change in everything. And as the surface breaks, reflections fade, but in some ways they remain the same. And as my mind begins to spread its wings, there's no stopping curiosity. I want to turn the whole thing upside upside down. I'll find the things that they say just can't be found. I'll share this love I find with everyone. We'll sing and dance to Mother Nature's song. I don't want this feeling to go away. Who's to say I can't do everything, but I can try. And as I roll along, I begin to find things aren't always what they seem. I want to turn the whole thing upside down. I find the things that they say just can't be found. I'll share this love I find with everyone. This world stands for nature's song. This world keeps spinning and there's no time to waste. Well, it all keeps spinning, spinning round and round, upside down. Who's to say what's impossible and can't be found? I don't want this feeling to go away. Please don't go away. Please don't go away. Please don't go away. Is this the way supposed to be? Thank you.
Thanks, Jen. Thank you, thank you. All right, here we go, everybody online on Facebook. We have Diane Murphy Brecker, one of our choir members, is up in Maine, not Maine,
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania for a little while. She says it's nice to be at church in my pajamas. And Bobby is in cool, drizzly Maine. Are you in your pajamas, Bobby? And Bertha, and she likes us to know that Shields is watching. Hi, Shields. Hey, Mike. We miss you. Cheryl, of course, is there. Lisa from Albuquerque. Hey, Lisa, how are you? Angela, good morning. Hey, Barb. And Mimi is watching. Hi, Mimi. I don't think I've seen your name yet. Hello. If you'd like a welcome. Oh, they're your friends. Oh, yeah. Yes, yes. All right. They're all Jen's friends. All right. Welcome. We're glad you're here. All right. Remember the bracelets and the bumper stickers, the WWJD? Remember that? What would Jesus do? I used to think that those were really, really silly. Right? I used to think that they were like, I don't even know what the word is. Let's just stick with silly. I used to think that they were silly. And now I think it's a great question. Here at Unity, we see Jesus the Christ as the teacher, right? That's the Christ is the Messiah. The teacher, Christ is not Jesus' last name. He is Jesus the Christ. And we see him here in Unity as a great teacher. We see him as the great example, not the great exception, right? And so I and the Unity movement looks to Jesus' teachings to be the guiding light for us, to be the way that we look at what Jesus did, and then we try to be as close to that as we possibly can. So while I think what would Jesus do is a great question, what would our co-founders do as well? Also, the followers, of course, of Jesus the Christ. That's Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, for those of you who might not know. They were the founders of our Unity movement. So today I'm going to talk about what would Jesus do and what would the Fillmores do. And I'm also going to touch a little bit on Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of religious science, which is kind of our sister tradition. So, what would Jesus and the Fillmores and Ernest do? We can learn a lot from what these spiritual giants do, how they approached life, yes? So in preparation for this talk, I've been looking at the New Testament quite a bit, and I think it's important for you to know what version of the Bible that I quote, and because, there's many versions of the Bible, and this biblical stuff can get a little bit confusing. For example, a grandmother was teaching her 10-year-old daughter lessons from the Bible, and the little girl was learning a good amount. And then one day she asked her grandmother, "Grandma, which virgin was Jesus' mother?" And her grandmother said, "Huh? What? What are you talking about?" And the little girl said, "Was she the Virgin Mary or the King James Virgin?" So just to let you know, I'm not quoting from the King James Version, but from the NRSV version, and also from the Gospel of Thomas. So, I was looking at an introduction of the Gospel of Thomas by Lynn Bauman, who translated it, and in that, she says, in Thomas's Gospel, Jesus is presented as the master of wisdom. But what is the wisdom, she says? It is clear from a careful reading of Thomas that the wisdom tradition that it expresses is beyond the conventional wisdom of Israel. In it, she says, are strains of teaching that some see originating as far away as Taoist China, Buddhist Tibet, and Mazdian Persia, as well as aspects of Jewish wisdom and its nascent mysticism. If the Gospel of Thomas is representative, Jesus may have also absorbed vast amounts of what he heard, synthesizing it into a new form according to some deep inner seeing. She writes, the protestation, "Where did you get all this?" gives evidence of the shock that his non-traditional wisdom had on the ears of those who anticipate the expected. Thomas presents Jesus as a sage whose wisdom not only transcended local expectation, but who was capable of grasping something far more universal than we've been led to believe. So, let's think about Jesus in that way, as a wisdom teacher, not necessarily as the founder of Christianity, because he wasn't. Other people founded Christianity after Jesus' life. Jesus was following Hebrew teachings and wisdom traditions. So let's talk a little bit about the Fillmores, Charles and Myrtle. When Charles and Myrtle married in 1881, they began exploring their personal theologies together. And as a matter of fact, there were some letters that online, truthunity.net, truthunity.net. They have lots of information on that website. And there are some letters between Myrtle and Charles in which they were talking about theology. And one line stands out for me. And she says, "I am eclectic." Like, why can't I be eclectic in my wisdom and in my religious tradition? So I say that for us, that not only do we follow the teachings of Jesus, but we also can follow teachings that make sense to us from other traditions. We are not a dogmatic church in that way. We are eclectic, at least I am. I know you can walk into some Unity churches and they'll be very traditional Fillmorians and follow just the teachings of Jesus. You'll never hear anything from the Buddha or from any of the other Gospels. You'll just hear that straight tradition. And we can be eclectic. Everyone is welcome here. So, Charles and Myrtle began exploring their personal theologies together, particularly a new religion, a new focus, a new lay movement known as a New Thought, of which we are a part, and so is religious science and a lot of other teachings as well. New Thought is not New Age, okay? So the difference, simply put, is that the New Thought is progressive teachings that come from wisdom traditions, okay? Not necessarily what you might think of as New Thought, and I'm not going to presume to know what you think New Thought is. So, the Fillmores had lots of influences, and three key sources indicate this is directly from truthunity.net. Three key sources indicate the influential books the Fillmores read. The first source is the Fillmores' inventory of books that they sold through the first issue of a magazine they published called Modern Thought, published in 1889. Don't you love that? April 1899, modern thought. I love that. Because of course it was. Of course it was. So in the modern thought, their inventory was, they advertised 109 books and 94 pamphlets, which they sold from their one-room office in a downtown Kansas City office building. And on the strongest emphasis among the works was on Christian Science and Theosophy, which I'm not going to define for you right now. Theosophy, you can look it up. The inventory also included Eastern-themed texts such as the Bhagavad Gita, the Yoga philosophy, legends and theories of Buddhists, and the Light of Asia. So they were informed by a lot of Eastern religion, yeah? So that's just to put a period on the fact that we come from that wisdom tradition, not just Christianity, not just modern progressive Christianity. So today I want to explore 3 situations or questions that relate to experiencing God, good and God in our lives, and what Jesus, Myrtle, and Charles, and a little bit of Ernest Holmes say about that. So, but before we do that, I have a question for you. Does anyone in this room have somebody that they don't like? Come on, everybody, raise your hand. You're not fooling me. You're not fooling me. Hopefully it's not me standing here, but if it is, it is. So then why are you here? We love you. So, could be an individual, could be a government, ours or another's. So, I think that we all have that to some extent. So what would Jesus and the Fillmores have to say about that? And here's where I'm going to quote Ernest Holmes. But first, in Luke, Jesus is reported to have said, "For if you love only those who love you, what is your blessing? And if you do good only to those who do good to you, what is your blessing? But love your enemies and do good to them, so your reward will increase, and you will become sons and daughters of the highest. Be therefore merciful, as your Father is also merciful. Judge not, and you will not be judged. Condemn not, and you will not be condemned. Forgive, and you will be forgiven." Let's just breathe into that for a moment. And any feelings or emotions that are coming up, just let them go, let them be. We're not beating ourselves up here about anything. Ernest Holmes says this: "We should do well to remember this lesson. How often we condemn what we should forgive. How often we censure when we might praise. What untold grief of heart might be relieved by words of cheer and forgiveness. Remembering that the Spirit holds no evil toward man and that God is love, we should emulate this divine lesson and forgive all, that our hearts may be free from the burden of our own condemnation." So I invite us this morning to have a new perspective on the one that we may think of as an enemy. And we'll have a chance to do that more in depth later on. But first, a couple more questions. Do you have something in your material life right now that you are worried about? Think about it for a moment. Get a picture in your mind as we listen to what Jesus and the Fillmores have to say about this. From Matthew: "For this reason I say to you, do not worry for your life, what you will eat and what you will drink, nor for your body, what you will wear. Behold, is not life much more important than food, and the body than clothing? Observe the birds of the sky, for they do not sow, neither do they harvest nor gather into barns, and yet your Father in heaven, your mother in heaven, feeds them. Who among you can worry, who by worrying can add 1 cubit to their stature? Why do you worry about clothing? Observe the wildflowers, how they grow. They do not get tired out, nor do they spin. But I say to you that even Solomon, with all of his glory, was arrayed like one of them. Now, if God clothes in such fashion the grass of the field, which today is, and tomorrow falls into the fireplace, is he not mindful of you? O you of little faith. Do not worry or say, what will we eat or what will we drink or with what will we be clothed? Your Father, Mother in heaven knows all these things are also necessary for you. But seek first the kingdom of God and God's righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will take care of itself. Let's just let that anchor for a moment. And here's what Charles Fillmore says about this. The eternal law of spirit goes right on operating regardless of what you may think, say, or do. It is ordained that love will bring you prosperity, and you need not wonder whether it will or how it will. Do not worry. Worry is a thief and a robber, for it keeps your good from you. Banish worry by quietly and confidently affirming the drawing power of divine love as the constantly active magnet that attracts your unfailing supply. Nope, I had an affirmation that I didn't put up there, but I'll say it first. And I really invite you to say this. And I'll say first, I am aligned with divine love and my every need is met. I am aligned with divine love and my every need is met. Together. I am aligned with divine love and my every need is met. Let's breathe into that. See if you can really anchor that and feel it. What does it feel like to have being aligned with divine love and every need is met? As we affirm one more time. I am aligned with divine love and my every need is met. And my every need is met. Amen. Amen. So the second part of this question is, so what do you need to manifest? What do you need to manifest? From Matthew. Ask and it shall be given to you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be opened to you. For whoever asks, believing, receive, and he or she who seeks finds, and to those who knock the door is open. Who among you, when their child asks for bread, will you hand them a stone? Or if they should ask for fish, will you hand them a snake? If therefore you, who make mistakes, know how much to give good gifts to your children, how much more will your Father, Mother in heaven give good things to those who ask? When we remember who we are at depth, when we remember who and whose we are, we can begin to use that knowledge, use that substance of the divine to co-create the life that we want, the life that we desire. The Gospel of Thomas. This is Logian 51. The Gospel of Thomas is a sayings gospel. It's not a narrative. It's a bunch of sayings that are attributed to Jesus. And this is what the Gospel of Thomas says. What you are looking for is already here. You simply have not recognized it. It's already here. Everything is already here for us. And what we are called to do is draw it to us, to be open and receptive as much as we can be to draw our good toward us. And what gets in the way of that is what we talked about a little while ago, the unforgiveness, the resentment, and the worry. And the worry that blocks all of that divine love of spirit. Co-founder Myrtle Fillmore wrote this. We have a very decided part. We are to cease worrying and being anxious, and thinking and speaking of the past and of the apparent lack. We are to concentrate all of our attention upon the truth of God and the truth of our own being, upon the very things we would see taking place in our lives. We cannot do this so long as we have negative thoughts in our hearts. She says, when we let light flood us with its sunshine, all clouds vanish, and we begin to see ourselves in new ways of doing, which lead to wholeness and health and satisfaction and growth. And her husband, Charles, says this, we mold omnipresent substance with our mind and make from it all the things that our mind conceives. There is perhaps no step in spiritual unfoldment more important than the one we are taking here, which is using what we know in our everyday lives. We are called to mold omnipresent substance in our mind, to use what we know to direct our thoughts into the direction that we want them to go, to be clear and specific. And because we are about building our faith in the all good, let's even stretch and create some goals that seem beyond our ability to reach them. When I was in ministerial school, I was taught that if your vision doesn't make you shake in your boots, it's not big enough. Right? It's not big enough. It doesn't make you shake. So let's set impossible goals. Let's turn it all upside down and set impossible goals in our lives, or the things that seem impossible. I remember that. I am reminded of that every day because my name is Jude, and I am named after Saint Jude, for those of you who are raised Catholic. Saint Jude is the saint of? Anybody? Hopeless causes. I prefer to think of it as the patron saint of the impossible. Other people will say St. Jude is the patron saint of lost causes, hopeless causes. So I'm reminded of that all the time, to lift my vision up, because we, together, me and Spirit, can do what I may think in my human thinking is the impossible. If we don't know how to achieve the goal, that's not our business. That's not our business. We call in the activity of Spirit, and we don't need to know what that activity of Spirit will bring us. That's not our business. The what is our business. The how is the business of the infinite divine. So let's move to the last question. Have you ever come up against something that's so large that you think it's going to take a miracle to resolve this or to make this happen? Right? So how do we become miracle workers? How do we draw miracles into our lives? Here's what the Gospel of Thomas has to say. When you are able to transform two into one, then you too will become the sons and daughters of humanity. And it will be possible for you to say to a mountain, move, and it will move. So when two become one, when we become one with the Spirit of God, with our Christ consciousness, with our God consciousness, with our Buddha nature, whatever you'd like to call it, that's what we're working towards in our spiritual unfoldment. Charles Fillmores says this: the way to do this is the way Jesus did it. He acknowledged himself to be the Son of God. The attainment of the Christ consciousness calls for nothing less on our part than a definite recognition of ourselves as sons and daughters of God, as expressions of God. I'm trying to be very inclusive here. So it's not just sons and daughters, for those of you who are non-binary or whatever that is. We are expressions of God. And it's up to us to act like we are, to know that we are expressions of God right here and now, regardless of appearances to the contrary. We know that we are expressions of God. Acknowledge it. When we know it, let's acknowledge it and proceed to take possession of our God right. That is what Jesus did in the face of adverse conditions. So I've talked about this several times from the podium, but it is the absolute beginning of the unity movement, and that is our co-founder Myrtle Fillmore's healing. But just to go back into the 1800s, when I said in the beginning that New Thought was a new tradition happening in the late 1800s, and that new tradition, New Thought, came about because there were a lot of New Thought teachers, or they didn't know they were New Thought teachers yet, but they were looking for a healing. They were looking for healing for body in the medical profession, and they weren't finding that healing in the medical profession. So they got to start thinking about, how about I go direct to Spirit and use that power and that presence to heal myself rather than relying totally on the medical profession. I'm not saying don't go to the doctor. Don't hear that. I'm not saying don't take care. I'm not saying don't take your medication. I'm not saying don't have that operation. I'm not saying any of that. What I am, because God is in all of that as well. What I am saying is also activate your spiritual nature. Activate the knowledge of who you are at depth and use that as well. Myrtle's healing. So she was diagnosed with chronic tuberculosis, was always told that she was sickly. And they had reached a place, she and Charles, where they were willing to try anything. And so they went to a lecture that was given by a gentleman named E.B. Weeks. And so this is from the book, the narrative I'm about to share with you is from the book, The Story of Unity by James Dillard Freeman. And he says this: they had reached the place where they were willing to try anything. Charles Fillmore came away from that lecture feeling no different than when he had gone. But the woman who walked out of the hall on his arm was not the same woman who had entered it. A new, a different, a liberating, a transforming conviction was blazing in her heart and mind. Everyone, he says, has gone to hear a lecturer and had the experience having some statement of the lecturer stand out so vividly in their mind that they have felt, he said that especially to me. That's the way it was with Myrtle Fillmore that night. As she walked from the hall, one statement repeated itself over and over in her mind: I am a child of God and I do not inherit sickness. I am a child of God and I do not inherit sickness. Over and over, Freeman writes, the words tolled like a bell. I am a child of God and therefore I do not inherit sickness. In that 1 hour, Myrtle Fillmore's whole outlook toward herself and her life had been changed. This simple idea and divine idea that she was a beloved child of God and that God's will for her could only be perfect life and wholeness filled her heart and mind. She was possessed by this thought. The old belief that she was an invalid, that she had been born to be an invalid, was as waters that have passed away. Even as she stepped out of the doors of the hall, this divine realization was working in her, not only in her mind, but in the very cells of her body. And she wasn't fooling around. She would put herself into meditation for hours every day and apologize to her body for thinking it was less than or it was sickly, and infuse that divine love, that divine thought of wholeness into every muscle, every tissue, every organ of her body. And of course, she was healed, lived to be 80 some odd years old. So, your being, this is Charles Fillmore, your being is in heaven, the spiritual consciousness. You descended from that high estate. You belong there now. You are there now if you will but realize it and will but comply with the laws of heaven. God is now here in the midst of us, taking account of our every thought. We are loved with infinite love. That infinite love moves in and through each one of us, in and through everyone in the world. We are that. We are that which we seek right here and right now. It's all available to us in our consciousness. It's time we start talking about what Jesus and Myrtle and Charles and Ernest did and start doing what they did. Let's be the ones who do this. Let's be the ones. I invite you to close your eyes for a closing prayer. Closing meditation, really. Deep breath, if you will, or 3. And I invite you to feel the love that is in this room. To add your love to the love that is in this room. To add your healing energy to the healing energy that is in this room. And those of you online, just beam it out here and there and everywhere. And I invite you to call into this circle of love someone you have a difficult time loving. Just that. You don't have to say anything else to yourself, just bring that person into this circle. And you can let that go. You can leave them here or let them go on their merry way, whatever that is for you. And now using this healing, using the love that is right here, I invite you to Make a concerted intention to release fear and doubt over abundance in your life. If you have any fear or doubt, I invite you to put wings on it and allow it to fly away. And a deep breath into this love. And if you have an intention or a desire, I invite you to affirm that right here and right now in this powerful circle of love. And finally, I invite you to open yourself up to a miracle by affirming your oneness with the all good, with all God. I am one with all good. You might want to say that to yourself. I am one with all good. I know who I am. An expression of the divine. And I invite you to open your eyes and know that we can be this. We can do this. We can heal, we can love, we can forgive in every single area of our lives. So let's go out and be that, and let's go out and do that. And so it is, and so we allow it to be. Namaste. And it's time for our love offering. And here are the ways you can, and our celebration of abundance. I don't call that enough. It is. That's what this is a celebration of abundance. So that as you are preparing your gifts, your tithes, your love offering, if you are a consistent giver, just bring that into your mind. And know that as you give, it comes back to you. Know this for yourself. So give in joy. I give and receive in love and joy. So there are all the ways that for those of you online, it's also underneath the video, all the ways that you can give to Unity of Stuart. And we bless the offerings knowing that these gifts not only give life to Unity of Stuart, but they help transform the world. Let's affirm our prosperity prayer and then our love offering blessing together. In a universe overflowing with the allness of God, all the needs of Unity of Stuart and those we serve are instantly, constantly, and bountifully met. From every direction, known and unknown, expected and unexpected, our abundant good comes to us now. We are grateful. And our love offering blessing together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give and receive always in love. We have a new song. Hang on.
New song.
I mean, they need to hang on. You don't need to hang on.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
I've got an attitude. I've got an attitude. I've got an attitude of gratitude.
I thank the universe for each new day, whether it's sunny or it's pouring rain. In any situation, time
All right, let's see. A couple more announcements.
Mike.
Hi, Mike. I have to turn my mic off. I'm afraid you can hear me singing. Well, that's not really it. You can hear me singing, but I don't want to drown out the band and the choir. Back to school backpack drive. This is the last Sunday. If you have anything, actually it's the last Sunday, but we'll be collecting until Wednesday. On Thursday morning, I will pick everything up and take it over to the police station. So thank you already for those of you who have donated. There are little slips out in the foyer on the information table if you'd like to get some things for the children who need school supplies in Stuart, Martin County, and have them here Wednesday between the hours of 10 and 2. So we're in cooperation with Family Promise, and here are some opportunities for you to help the homeless. One of the things, we got about 30 responses to our survey, and helping with the homeless has come up several times. So if that's you, here's a way to help. Feed a Family, help with affordable apartments, help with landscaping at the Family Center, and signing, we don't have a sign-up sheet for the Family Promise, I forgot to tell May, for the bed races. There'll be a sign-up next week for the bed races. Help me remember that, would you? And that's going to be on 10/14. We had a blast last year. We built the bed in my driveway, and then it was great. We had so much fun. So there's a flyer on the information table that has all of this in a little bit more detail. If you'd like even more detail, you can see Roberta Scott. Raise your hand there, Roberta, and she'll direct you to the correct place. We have some kiddos. Let's stand and sing our kiddos in.
We are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We are walking in the light of God. We are walking in the light, in the light, in the light. We are walking in the light of God. In the light of God.
Please be seated for a moment or two. I don't have the other mic, but I do have this. Anybody has anything like to share today? Would you like to share, Nova? You can say no. No's a perfectly good answer. All right, Miss Jen, what's going
All
on?
right. Hey, guys.
Hey, Jen.
Today, our lesson was about building a prayer, building your own personal prayer. And we went through with the kids how to create a prayer for themselves. That was our lesson.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did anybody create a prayer today? Yes? Did you create? Okay. They were so afraid I'm going to make them talk. I will never make you talk. Never, never, never. Did you see that? All right, I saw that, Nova. All right. Let's continue by affirming the. Wait, no. What do I do next?
We're singing.
We're blessing our kids.
1, 2, 3, 4.
We love you. We bless you. We truly, truly appreciate you. We behold the prize in you.
And before we close with the prayer for protection and the peace song, I want to remind you that there'll be board members available for conversation or for suggestions. And be mindful of those who don't wish to hold hands as we sing the peace song. Let us affirm the prayer for protection together. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever I am, God is. I am divine. Let's sing.
1, 2.